Textiles all around us, mostly as clothing, but also as upholstery and carpeting. Fashion as such has always fascinated architect and artist Maarten Douwe Bredero. How something as elementary as wrapping the human body can change our appearance and feel as human beings. Bredero's extended this interest and passion to technical textiles for use in the auto industry, civil engineering and construction, especially buildings. He's thrilled with the artistic possibilities textiles offer in terms of design. It's his ambition to dress buildings on the outside with textiles, a truly new initiative if we leave aside all the tensile structures already at hand. This is not a purely artistic venture like the projects of Christo. It's also functional. Bredero calls his quest Buitenbehang, that is, exterior building textile. The material stitched with computer-driven apparatus, then plastered or otherwise evenly attached to the facade. When faced with a recent commission, Bredero took some steps sideways and created a follow-up version, Buitenbehang 2, which can be seen in the second video. But first, some basics, thought up for ArtEZ University of the Arts. The beauty and essence of textile as a material is its flexible nature, but at the same time it's limited in structural terms. Although textiles exhibit great tension when stretched, they cannot generally withstand compressive loading. So the challenge is to develop a textile with true load-bearing capacity. One way to achieve both sufficient tension and compression is to ensure the construction is thick enough, as depicted in this second sheet derived from tapestry and building cladding. This construction forms a sandwich, popular for instance in the aircraft industry. When textile is fixed to both sides of a construction material, bending strength in two directions becomes feasible. Given that shear forces can be transferred to a compression zone, the distance between the two tensile faces provides leverage. As with reinforced concrete, another way to arrive at a stronger textile is by taking the universally undeformable triangle as a source of inspiration. Remember, all digitally composed structures in computers are ultimately formed from triangles, the smallest entities known to man, to create a surface. This idea could be developed further. So, we've looked at textiles progressively from a linear or one-dimensional aspect through 2D and finally to 3D. Now let's take a look inside a building. In reporting to the Netherlands Enterprise Agency RVO on the IMM Design Fair in Cologne, Bredero conceived this egg of Columbus, inspired by leading carpet and wallpaper producers. This sketch, for a booth out of cubical contours, suggests decoration combined with compressive and tensional forces. In this next design, the interior climate is of particular interest. Piping, interwoven with textile, could distribute hot or cold water across the floor and wall in a room. The textile principle of warp, flowing water, and weft, supporting fibre, fused into one. Lastly, Bredero came up with an idea for fluffy, sound-absorbing interior walls. They would be lightweight and constructed using 2 layers of tensile wiring fixed to an aluminium frame. Now let's move outside to look at the facades. The organization MODINT commissioned Bredero to look into the possibilities of 3D constructions with textiles. Here you see his concepts applied to vertical sections of a traditional brick wall and a new experimental wall using load-bearing glass. In both cases, 2 layers of textile are applied. In the case of the brick wall, the textile provides a renewed aesthetic covering to the dated exterior, and an aesthetic, sound-absorbing covering on the inside wall. Ideally, one material with different porosities for both surfaces should do the job. So what would it look like? Here you see both the traditional wall and the new wall from the outside. The new wall on the right has 2 blades of glass as part of the supporting system. In terms of compression, this makes it very strong. It's combined with integrally fixed textile, which is strong in tension. This means the wall can withstand vertical gravitational forces, and it can also take on bending forces induced by horizontal wind. See how beautifully the textile behind the glass hides the insulating material that counters heat loss. The second impression looks at the two principles from the inside. Just like the traditional wall on the right, the new wall on the left is covered by textile as wallpaper. By covering the construction glass next to the windows with textile, it will create a more pleasant, homely atmosphere with excellent acoustics. Think of the look and feel of a salon. Let's now see what Buitenbehang 2 has led to. Just as with the first pre-prototype, a brand new textile was fixed to an appropriate brick-like background. During a session at the Hansa, various experts brainstormed new possibilities for textiles in construction. They presented research incentives to a highly motivated group of professionals from academia and industry. A demonstration was mounted by lectors Mieke Oostra and Ger Brinks, together with Maarten Douwe Bredero. Dressed as construction workers, complete with hard hats, they used textile to attach a ventilation rod to a prefabricated plate of insulation to be combined with a third plate. They simulated working conditions on the outside by covering an old brick wall with decorative insulation. Again, the aim here is to create an original textile for outside walls, comparable to clothing in look and feel. The textile sheets themselves had a whitish tint and were pre-treated with various substances, as can be seen in this design. The substances represent advanced lines of thinking for future applications to make them environmentally sound. They allow the textile to absorb harmful particles from the air, break down pollutants into harmless residues, and change color when wet. The middle plate featured a woven thread designed by Bredero using architectural software and sewn by the textile group at Saxion using a computer. The design's inspired by the work of Dutch artist Jan Schoonhoven. It features a playful image highlighting the looseness and curvature so typical of textile. Invisible when dry, it will lighten and add color on a rainy day, as seen at the official opening. This proof of concept was honored by the Netherlands Enterprise Agency through the consultant BMA Techne. The firm RIED glued the textile to the insulation plates. Maarten Douwe Bredero is constantly in pursuit of true innovation, moving on from existing 2D standardized materials to unexpected tailor-made 3D explorations in textile, combining both aesthetic appeal and structural qualities. As to the effect, well, you can be the judge.